Hello, welcome to Exotic Gardening with me, Yorkshire Kris. We've had very cold temperatures, down to -6. Lots of people have snow. We've got a covering of snow, but nothing too bad. And in this week's video, we're going to look around the garden, see what that cold has done to the plants, talk about the plants I've protected so far, the ones I haven't, and what's also in the greenhouse. So let's look at the garden. Now we've had the very cold weather. And obviously lots of things have gone to mush. So we looked at this last week, but we can see everything's really collapsed now. So the cannas, they've all gone to mush. The irisine, the coleus, everything else down here has gone to mush. Bamboo and the palms are still fine, but we did get -6. So that is on the edge of a few plants, even, some of the plants that we have out here that we say are fine in most winters. -6 is pushing some things. So tree ferns, you can see, they're still looking green. And I managed to get out and put some straw in the centres. So they've got leaves in the centres, but they've also got straw in there as well, just an extra protection. And the bamboos above and the palms are giving a bit of overhead canopy in this part of the garden. If we look around, all the summer bedding is now collapsed to the ground, but that's protecting the rhizomes. So the dahlias and the cannas, the gingers are all getting protected by the collapsed stems, a little bit by this foliage. And now all that is collapsed. You can see the new palms that were planted out. So you've got this nice cross of Jabea and Bootia here. And further down the garden, we'll see another special palm. So if you just walk round, we'll be doing a video soon of all the different Trachycarpus species, and you can see a blanket over there. I hurriedly, in the dark, put a blanket over my Trachycarpus martianus, so we'll see how that's fared after -6, but it was still unprotected when it was -3, -4, so we'll see if that's worked when we reveal that soon, before the end of the year. Amecia standing tall, but all the foliage is collapsed. That'll be cut down to the ground. And we'll just go around past this ricinus. This is a special palm. This is Bootia aerispatha, cross with Syagris romanzophiana Santa Caterina. Beautiful palm, not protected in 1 iota, because I want to see how hard it is. So far, and it's only literally early days, it looks okay. We've not got that instant hit of damage, but obviously damage can be delayed. My big macrophylla up here, still looking pretty good. Got a bit of damage to that newest leaf there. The older leaves are looking fine. That has proved hardy for me. The Latisectus got battered last winter, and I think it's going to lose all its leaves again. We'll just get round here so you can get a better shot of it. They look very, very dark and sorry for themselves. So it'll probably lose those leaves. And -6 we had, that is the coldest it's been so early in the season. I've never had a -6 right at the start of December before. So that is very, very cold, very early in the season. That's a view looking back. You can see through now because all the cannas and gingers have been cut to the ground. So let's look over the bridge. Obviously the gunneras here, they're protected by their own leaves and they're hardy enough anyway. So let's get over the bridge. If you remember, if you watched last week, you'll know the archway collapsed. I've not moved that yet. I've been thinking about this. I might not replace it, because look at that view of the Jabea there. Jabea obviously not protected because it's nice and hardy. Well, hardy to -10ish, but I like the view. So I might get rid of the arch completely and just have the magnificent palm dominating this part of the garden. I like the reveal of going through the archway to see it, but actually stepping back now, so a good sort of 6, 7, 8 meters away from the palm, and you can see it's a beautiful palm tree, not just the trunk, but the arching feather leaves as well. They look really good. So actually, it might not replace the archway, but we'll step over it for now, just to show you a couple of things further down the garden. If I can get over it, tangled in all the passion flower vines. So we'll just walk around here just to show you the arid plants. If you remember last week, we managed to get the shelters up, and you can see underneath we've got the Montanas and the Agave Americanas. They're looking fine under there. I've got some other things with shelters on, little agaves down here, but I've left that apuntia there. You can see that apuntia shearii, that's not protected. Hopefully that'll be fine through winter. We'll see how that gets on. Obviously I'll keep updating the videos, and we'll see the decline or the survival of these plants as we go through winter. Further down you can see all the colocasias. They've all collapsed to the ground as expected. I've not protected these. There's enough foliage over them and they'll be fine. They come back year after year. Some die off, but most make it through. And then we've got a wonderful butia there. Again, that's not protected, and that will be fine. It's got through many winters, colder temperatures than what we've had so far. But obviously, like I said, it's very early we've had this cold, so we'll see how the winter progresses. If we get lots and lots of cold over and over again, down to -4, -5, -6, or even lower, then it might really hammer some of these plants. Obviously, the bamboos are totally fine at these temperatures. Turn round now, we can see the Brea Marta, nice thick trunk on that looks fine, and a better view of the agaves, and they look fine in their little shelter. I just think it's starting to sleet at the moment. It's getting dark already, so mid-afternoon and it's getting pretty dark already. So not everything's looking great. So under here we have an aeonium that I totally forgot about. So rather than digging it up, I just threw a fleece over it. So if I look under that, it's probably mushy, but actually, no, that's okay-ish. It's on borderline. It might not make it, but it's got a chance. I've not dug it up. We've got so many anyway, so leaving that one out as just chancing it, hoping it was going to be a mild winter. But as we've had -6 already, I doubt it's going to be a mild winter. Just looking around there. Under that sleeping bag here, we have Cycas revoluta, and that should be fine. Keep using the word fine because it's not a very, it's a positive word, but it's not the super positive word, it's a hopeful word. Now let's go around here. And if you've got echiums, this might be a site you've got in your garden, lots of droopy leaves, and this is borderline for echiums getting through. Oh, down to -5, you say probably fine. Anything lower and they're probably done for. And I think these, unfortunately, won't make it through the winter. I've never got echiums to flower. I always seem to have unlucky with the winters. They either get through mild winters and flower, or they die, and then you've got to sow seeds again and hope for the best. So I just need a mild winter to get these through, but it's not going to be this winter by the looks of things. And then over there, got the view back to the jungle hut and the grasses. Nice winter colour now of the miscanthus grasses. And there's another view of the Jubea. So it was a quick little tour. You might have noticed there was something missing on this tour, and that is, where are my bananas? I always say wrap them in straw, wrap them up, but actually I couldn't do that this year, and I'll tell you why in a second. That is because I brought my bananas into the greenhouse. Now that wasn't the plan. I was going to wrap them in situ. So I got one Musa Baju there, which was a decent sized one. Got the Sycamensis, and if we crawl down the greenhouse, push through all these plants, we can see We've got a very sad looking Musa Baju there, 2 small plants, and that is a full growth from the ones that got hit back last winter. So that's all they did. They grew, what, to about 50, 60 centimetres, and that was it. So rather than protect them in situ, I just quickly dug them up, and actually it was a lot quicker. And the reason I dug them up as well, rather than wrap them up, is because I took a couple of hours off work to finish early on Tuesday afternoon to quickly come home and protect these in situ. But what happened was I checked when the farm shop was open, and the only day it was closed was Tuesdays, so I wasn't able to get my straw to protect them. So I quickly dug them up instead, and actually it was easy to do. So I've got not many plants anyway, so like I said, just a one decent sized one there, and a few pups down there, and another couple of Sycamensis over there. So that's why I dug them up. Basically didn't have the materials to protect them in situ, and luckily I do have the space. Could have this big garage greenhouse conversion, so I've got some decent height and space. I can keep everything over wintered in here rather than leaving them outside. And I did it just in the nick of time, because if I left it at -6, that is the limit of Musa Baju. Mature ones, small ones, will collapse at warmer temperatures than that. So these small ones down here, -2, -3 for many hours, a couple of days in a row, will have probably seen them down to mush. You need some decent thick stems to get through sort of -3, -4s, and then -6 is pretty much the limit for Musa Baju unprotected to keep the stems. Obviously ground level, totally fine, but if you want to keep the stems, it's got to be protected, dug up, or have a mild winter. And then over there you can see the lovely colourful plants that actually, these are not just straightforward to overwinter, because they're on this heat bench. I've got to water these a lot, so they're suffering from drought more than anything else rather than the cold. Because they're on the heat bench, I'm not going to heat the greenhouse too warm. I'm keeping the roots nice and warm here at 18 degrees, and the air temperature is at 6 degrees. So saving some money there, not having to heat all the space. And we'll see how the nice banana plant there, the edible banana, gets through the winter as well. So I'm going to water these when the video finishes, because these definitely need a good watering. And then you can join me next week where I'll be doing more in the garden.